Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Became Garou in a World Where My Hero Academia and One Punch Man Coexists movie. Before we start, please go support Alex Lopez 12 for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Do you know what it's like to be mistreated by the people around you who, because of a strange taste, look at you as a nuisance? Chapter 1, Childhood. Issei Hyaodu, one of 4 brothers, the third to be exact, showed from a young age that he was a genius in mechanics. But hospital. Issei, brother, what do you think my quirk will be? He said excitedly. Ryu, I don't know, maybe it's some elemental power like dad's and mine, or super strength like Makoto's, he said with his hand on his chin. Mr. H, if or in defense like your mother, he said, thinking. But before he could say anything else, a doctor said, Dr. Hyaodu, Issei, your turn. Mrs. H, I'll go with you, son, she said, standing up. Darling, could you hold Hikari while I go with Issei? Mr. H, okay, he said, holding a baby. After that, they entered the doctor's office where Issei underwent several physical tests and a few others, which took 24 minutes. Doctor, well, your son is in excellent health, but he doesn't seem to have a quirk, he said, looking at some papers. Mrs. H, so she doesn't have a quirk? She said, surprised. Doctor, that or he'll take a while to wake up, he said seriously. Issei, that means I could have a quirk. Doctor, that could be the case. Mrs. H, okay, doctor, see you later, she said, leaving with Issei. Ryu, what's up? What quirks do you have, brother? He said excitedly. Issei, according to the doctor, either I don't have it or I haven't woken up, he said sadly. Mr. H, don't worry, he'll surely wake up at some point. Issei, you're right, Dad, let's go home, he said, sounding more cheerful. Hyudou residence. Mrs. H, Makoto, we've arrived. A few moments later, from the top, under a chestnut tree of the same age as Ryu. Makoto, and how did my little brother do? She said happily. Issei, well, supposedly my quirk hasn't awakened, he said dejectedly. Makoto, don't worry, it doesn't matter if you have a quirk or not, we'll support you. Issei, thank you, brother, he said, hugging him. But what Issei didn't know was that he wouldn't awaken his quirks. And so 6 years passed where Issei didn't awaken any quirks, so his family lost hope that he had any quirks, in addition to the fact that Issei received abuse from his schoolmates. At the Hyaodu residence, we see a 13-year-old Issei with his 14-year-old brothers and his 7-year-old sister, who happens to have a quirk that allows her to create storms, but what interests us is what the brothers are watching on TV. On TV. We could see a name wearing a crab suit and a crown with several dead people. King Crab, that's what happens to you for messing with me, he said as he prepared to return to the sea. But before entering, someone shouted from a building. Stop, monster, he said, striking a hero pose. King Crab, and who are you? I am Justice Man, he said, raising his fist. King Crab, a hero that you two will try to stop me. Justiceman, I won't try, I'll do it, he said, jumping off the building. Justicemas, he said, delivering a powerful blow. After doing that, the King Crab fell dead. Issei, another monster who lost against Justice Man, isn't there a single monster who can win? Makoto, hey, I'm bored, see you later. He said, getting up. Issei, if I'm leaving too, I think I'll go see Irina at the park, he said, getting up. Ryu, you mean I'm going on a date with my girlfriend Irina to the park too? But before he could say anything else, Issei hit him on the back of the neck. Issei, she's not my girlfriend. Hikari, haha, big brother, can I go with you? She said happily. Issei, if that's what you want, let's go, he said, taking her hand. And so Issei and Hikari went to find Irina to go to the park. Park? Hikari, little brother, can I go to the games with Irina? Issei, ask Irina, not me, he said with a smile. Irina, for my sake, let's go, Hikari. Hikari, yes. She shouted, starting to run. Irina, wait for me, she said, thinking she would follow her. Issei, hee, the two get along quite well, he said, taking out a book. Issei was reading, and without realizing it, some children started playing in front of him. Hey, said one of the children. Issei, are you talking to me? He said, confused, if you want to play. Issei, no, but thanks, Tatsuya. Tatsuya, come on, we won't use our quirks. Issei, okay, he said, getting up since we played. Tatsuya, did you see today's episode of Justice Man? Issei, yes. Tatsuya, it was great, wasn't it? Issei, well, I thought it was somewhat justified that he killed the Crab King. Tatsuya, why do you say that? It was a monster. Monsters have to die. He said, confused. Issei, he only wanted to protect the sea from those men. Tatsuya, so you're on the side of the monsters, he said, a little angry. Issei a little. Tatsuya okay because we'll play the game from today's episode and you'll be the monster. Issei, okay. And so they started playing, everything was going well until. Tatsuya just a smash, he said throwing a punch. Upon seeing the attack, Issei dodged it, causing Tatsuya to fall to the ground. Tatsuya, what are you doing? Issei, well, I'm trying to win. Child, but monsters never win. Tatsuya, he's right, and if you keep moving, grab him. After saying that, the two children who were with him held Issei's hands. Issei, what are you doing? Let me go. Tatsuya, all right, let's continue, he said, smiling maliciously. Tatsuya jumped to deliver a kick that hit Issei in the face. And so things went for 4 years, during which Tatsuya told everyone that Issei liked monsters, so his abuse increased. Irina moved away, and worst of all, his father was murdered by a villain. For Issei, every day was hell, but that didn't stop him from his studies. Right now, he studies at Kohu Academy, which he entered a year ago, and now we see a 16-year-old Issei in his bed. Issei had a first day this year, I hope it's better, he said, getting up. He didn't know it, but today the only people he trusted would turn against him. Chapter 2, the beginning of the problems. After getting up, Issei took a bath, changed, and went downstairs to the living room where he saw his brothers. Issei, good morning, how are you all? He said cheerfully. Ryu, okay. Hikari, okay, little brothers. Makoto, good, and I hope it continues like this. Issei, and mom is better, he said worriedly. Makoto, I know her fever has increased, I think I'll stay and take care of her. Ryu, don't worry, I'll tell the teacher why you won't be going. Makoto, thank you. Issei, I'll take Hikari to school. Ryu, well, let's go, we're getting late. Issei, okay, let's go, Hikari. Hikari, yes, little brothers. On his way to school, Issei saw them constructing a building or school for heroes, and he saw that it was called UA, but he didn't pay it any mind. Issei, and how do you think you'll do at school, Hikari? Hikari, very well, you already. Issei, I hope you're well. Without realizing it, they had already arrived, so Issei left his sister and went to the academy, but he was almost late. Issei, damn, if I'm even a second late, the guard won't let me in. But before he could continue, Issei came across a huge piece of bamboo lying on the ground. Issei, I have an idea. Academy gates. At the entrance to the academy, we can see a man, not so old, looking to see if any students were coming. Guard, it seems that's everyone, he said, starting to close the door. But the guard noticed that Issei was running with the bamboo in his hand. Guard, what's that kid up to? But he just thought Issei was going to try to jump the fence with the bamboo, not on my watch, kid. After saying that, the guard positioned himself in front of where Issei seemed to be running to prevent him from jumping, but Issei planted the bamboo on one side of the guard. Issei, I thought the entrance looked sad, so I brought the bamboo as a decoration. See you later, sir, have a good day, he said, smiling as he entered the academy. Guard, I'm fooled, he said, surprised. Once inside, Issei arrived at his classroom where he sat down to rest, but Tatsuya approached him. Tatsuya, wow, I thought the phenomenon wouldn't arrive, he said mockingly. Issei, Tatsuya, could you leave me alone, he said angrily. Tatsuya, because you were already angry. Issei, I just want to be left alone. Tatsuya, and what if I don't leave you alone? Issei, grr, just leave. Tatsuya said nothing, he just brought his hand close to Issei's head. Tatsuya, mind destruction, he said with a malicious smile. When Issei realized what was happening, he was alarmed, but he couldn't do anything. He just felt an enormous headache that, in his words, was brutal. Issei, please stop, he said with tears in his eyes. Tatsuya, sorry you brought this on yourself, he said, smiling, you like it. It's something new. I wanted to try it on you before using it for real in a fight. Issei felt an enormous pain in his head, and knowing that Tatsuya didn't plan to stop, he did the first thing that came to mind. Issei, he screamed as he charged at Tatsuya. Tatsuya, not expecting Issei to do that, ended up falling with Issei out of his classroom window, landing in the parking lot. Tatsuya, are you crazy? He said as he stood up. Issei, you're an idiot, I wouldn't have done it if you had freed me, he said angrily. Tatsuya, you'll pay for that, he said angrily. After saying that, a blue aura appeared around Tatsuya, creating a shield around him. Issei, you're an idiot. If you use your quirks without permission, you'll be expelled. He said, fear in his voice. Tatsuya, they won't expel one of the strongest for this, and you know it. Without further ado, Tatsuya raised his hand, pointing at Issei, which caused him to begin levitating. Tatsuya, it's time for you to feel pain. Following that, he began to slam Issei against the pavement, while Tatsuya was sweeping the floor with Issei on top of a building across from the academy. There's no doubt that humans are stupid beings, he said seriously. I think I'll go and test that human's power. Back with Issei, he was bleeding quite a bit. Tatsuya, do you want me to continue or are you already tired? Issei, rot in hell, he said as best he could. Tatsuya planned to continue, but at that moment a teacher arrived. Professor Tatsuya, stop hitting your classmate, he said seriously. Tatsuya, tusk, you're lucky, Hyaudu. Issei, because he's only just interfering. He's been watching almost since we jumped out the window, he thought angrily. Professor, could someone help young Issei? He asked those looking out the window. When the professor saw that no one offered to help Issei, he decided to help him himself, so he started walking towards him, but monster, well, having such great potential, I end up defeated. Everyone panicked when they saw the monster, and the professor activated an alarm to evacuate everyone while a hero arrived. Monster, do you really think they'll escape? Professor, if I give them time, and if I'm not alone, he said with a smile. At that moment, the rest of the teachers, the guard and the principal arrived at the scene. Director, what's a monster doing in this academy? Monster, I was just looking for someone to have fun with, he said, looking at Issei on the ground, and now I know how I'll have fun. After saying that, he took Issei and placed his hand on his head. Monster, you are strong but you don't know it, you will serve me as long as I live. After saying that, a purple light passed from his hand into Issei's body, causing his eye color to change to purple. The monster released Issei, who ended up falling to his knees, but he immediately got up. Issei, I. Issei, I'm a monster. Chapter 3, the first appearance of the human monster. Everyone who saw Issei like that realized that Issei was being controlled by the monster. Monster, take care of them, the monster ordered. Issei didn't hesitate and started walking towards where his teachers and classmates were. Ryu. Issei's brother was in his classroom when the alarm sounded and his teacher left to face the threat. He and his classmates, as ordered, had to go to the basement shelter of the academy, but on the way. Ryu, what do you think is happening, Kiba? He asked his partner. Kiba, the alarm was for a dragon threat, and honestly I don't want to get into trouble with a dragon class. But before they could continue, something pierced the wall and they saw a second-year student, the same one Issei had seen when he peered through the hole caused by the collision. 2 minutes before, Issei continued walking towards where his teachers and classmates were with a serious expression, while they were not worried because they knew that Issei was weak. But for some reason, Issei's new appearance seemed familiar to them. Tatsuya, you're an idiot for taking him on. He's quirkless, he won't last a minute. I already beat him up, he said smiling. Monster, do you remember the disaster from a year ago? He said seriously but with a smile. Upon hearing that, everyone remembered the biggest disaster that struck the city and almost became a global threat. Professor, you're talking about the day the Monster Association was founded, he said seriously. Monster, that's right, but do you remember who massacred the heroes, causing the association to end up crushing them, and not only the heroes but also the villains? He said, widening his smile. At that moment, the teachers remembered who had given them the biggest beating of their lives, and Tatsuya and the students remembered someone ranked as the top-ranked anti-hero of class. The human monster, they all said in unison. Monster, that's right, he made both heroes and villains kneel. When he finally fell, the heroes and villains were defenseless. The association only had to attack the humans. We monsters almost won, but if Nana Shimura and All Might hadn't appeared and interfered with the attack, we would have scattered outside the city, he said angrily, but the human monster didn't die. He managed to escape. The association kept an eye on him, and seeing that he had lost the will to finish off the heroes, they decided to send me to capture him to keep him under control, and the objective was achieved, he said, looking at Issei. Everyone was surprised to hear that, but... Student, you bastard, my brother was paralyzed because of you. He said angrily, launching himself into an attack, activating his quirks that gave him speed, strength, and reflexes. He vanished from his spot in a burst of speed and reappeared in front of Issei with his fist inches from his face. But after such a blow, the boy went flying, crashing into the wall from which Ryu and Kiba emerged. Ryu, Issei, did you do that? He asked, shocked. Unlike Ryu, Kiba focused more on the monster than on Issei. Kiba, what did you do to my damn friend's brother? He said angrily. Monster, well, I just put a monster's mind into his brother's body. He's still in there but locked away. We just need his power and that's it. But I think the best way to bring back the human monster is by causing a massacre, so kill everyone. In that state, Issei launched himself at everyone, and the first to react was a teacher who had the quirk of enlarging parts of her body. She threw a punch at Issei, who jumped, landing in her fist with the intention of kicking her, but this was stopped by another teacher who, with a sound wave, sent him flying into the academy wall. Monster. I suppose the lack of training caused the human monster to become weak. Issei emerged from the rubble with part of his uniform torn. Ryu, damn, why did it have to be Issei? Tatsuya, Issei is the human monster, that monster over there has him under control. Ryu, wait a minute, Issei can't be the human monster. We would have noticed. Tatsuya, there's only one way to find out. I'll try to enter his mind, but one of you will come with me in case things get ugly. Kiba, I don't understand. Tatsuya, we will enter his mind and free him from the control that monster has over him. Ryu, I understand, but why do you say things could get ugly? Tatsuya, that monster said he put something in Issei's head and I don't think it'll be easy to get it out of his body. Kiba, okay, I'll go. Ryu, what? No, he's my brother, it has to be me. Tatsuya, decide quickly, he said, seeing how Issei had already finished off all the masters except the one causing the sound waves. Issei had already finished off all the masters except the one who used sound waves, but Issei punched the ground causing a drain cover to rise up. He then punched it, sending it flying straight at the master, who fell unconscious. The students, seeing the teachers on the ground and Issei with only a wound on his forehead, prepared to attack, but Issei dodged a burst of fire that Ryu launched. Ryu, I know you're not Issei, so I can beat you up without any resentment. Issei, but it's his body, he finally spoke. Ryu TKS. While Ryu and Issei were preparing to fight, Tatsuya and Kiba were ready to enter Issei's mind, both with different thoughts. Tatsuya, once I'm inside his mind, I'll be able to see why he's so strong. Kiba, the president said to investigate who could be of help to the club, and having the human monster on our side would be good, especially if he has a sacred gear. Chapter 4 Silver Fang. Tatsuya, it's time, he said, pointing his hand at Issei. He said as he and Kiba fell to the ground, or at least their bodies did, Issei's mind. Tatsuya and Kiba entered Issei's mind, and once inside they saw thousands of doors. Kiba, what do we do now? Tatsuya, wait a moment, he said, closing his eyes. Almost immediately a light came out of it, and crawled along the ground leaving a green line. Kiba, what did you do? Tatsuya, that goes where Issei is going, he said seriously. Kiba, okay. Outside Issei's mind. Ryu and Issei stared directly at each other, and then Ryu lunged at him. Ryu ignited his hands in flames, destroying his sleeves, and prepared to attack. But Issei dodged the attack and then punched him in the back, sending him rolling to the ground. Ryu managed to stabilize himself, ending up with his back against the wall, but was immediately hit by Issei, causing them to crash through the walls and land in the academy's hallways. Ryu perfecting closed space. He said, clasping his hands, incinerate. After saying that, a powerful torrent of fire flooded the corridor. Ryu, I hope I didn't kill him. He said, stopping the attack shit. Ryu saw that he had destroyed the hallway and caused a huge hole in the wall, and in the distance, he saw an Issei with his shirt destroyed. Issei stood up, showing that Ryu's attack hadn't had much effect. Ryu, what are those two doing? He thought worriedly. Issei's mind. Tatsuya and Kiba were following the line on the ground until it reached a green door. Kiba, hey, what's right there at the doors? He asked, intrigued. Tatsuya, each door represents memories. The green ones are good, the red ones bad, the blue ones dreams, and the black ones fears. Kiba, so this is a good memory. Tatsuya, yes, let's go. Upon opening the door, they realized they were outside a martial arts dojo. Kiba, wait a minute, is this it? Tatsuya, Silver Fang's dojo, he said in surprise. Hey, finally, who would think of putting a dojo on top of a mountain? Said, panting from exhaustion. Tatsuya, Issei, you don't say. He said, impressed. Kiba, it was Silver Fang who trained him, he said, just like Tatsuya. Issei, I wonder if he's at the dojo. Issei was about to knock on the door, but it slid open, revealing an old man. Bang, what do you need, kid? He said calmly. Issei, hello, my name is Hyodo Issei, and I would like to be your disciple, he said seriously. Bang, sorry Issei, but I don't need a disciple. Issei, what, but why? Bang, why do you want to be my disciple? Issei, to protect my family. Bang, why, you have a quirk, right? You just need to train your quirk. Issei, you're wrong, I don't have quirks, that's why I want you to train me. Bang, alright Issei, from today you are my disciple, but your training will be from 12:00 p.m. to 5:00 a.m., he said seriously. Issei, yes master, you'll see I'll become strong, he said with determination. Tatsuya, that's why he's strong, he trained with Silver Fang, he said seriously. Kiba, Tatsuya, look, he said, seeing a green door. Tatsuya, right, we have to find Issei, he said, opening the door. Outside Issei's mind. Ryu, incinerate, he shouted, launching his attack against Issei. Upon seeing the attack, Issei began running around Ryu, who stopped his attack. Ryu, ha ha ha, why are you taking so long? He said, panting. Issei, you're pathetic, just like our father, he said, smiling. Ryu, why do you say that? No, you're not Issei. Issei, true, I'm just the embodiment of their negative feelings. But a year ago we only killed one person, the Human Torch hero, he said smiling. Ryu W what, no you killed our father, he said in shock. Issei no not me Issei yes. Ryu you damn it, he shouted with hatred in his voice. At that moment Ryu began to emit a great heat from his body, and then his entire body burst into flames. Ryu, I don't care anymore if you're my brother, I'm going to kill you, he said hatefully. Issei perfect current punch shatters rocks, he said seriously. Issei then attacked Ryu. Ryu and Issei began exchanging blows, but Issei had the clear advantage in close combat, giving Ryu a brutal beating who, in a moment of carelessness. Issei once again passed through the academy walls, using poor Ryu as a shield, until he reached the academy's court where Issei threw Ryu far away. Ryu stabilized, falling to his feet. Ryu, incinerate, he shouted, launching a massive attack. Upon seeing Ryu's attack, Issei prepared to stop it, which was easy, but Ryu charged through his attack, ready to strike Issei, but Issei countered with a kick, sending him flying into the air along with his attack. Issei immediately leaped above Ryu and descended, connecting with a powerful kick that sent him crashing to the ground, creating a massive crater. Issei approached the crater, seeing Ryu in his normal form as he lay dying, so he prepared to deliver the final blow, but don't worry, everything is fine. Do you know why? Because we're here. Issei, All Might. Issei and Nana Shimura. Nana, wow, I thought you had redeemed yourself, she said seriously. At that moment the monster that controls Issei arrived. Monster, he did it, but the Monster Association needs him in our ranks. And I suppose if we beat you in a fight you'll release him, won't you? All Might, Silver Fang. Bang, good morning All Might Nanas. Nana, this is going to get interesting. Issei's mind. Kiba and Tatsuya upon entering were back in Silver Fang's dojo, but bang, you're amazing Issei. We've only known each other for a year and you're already at my level. Issei, yes master, he said in his uniform. Bang, it's already dawn Issei. I think you should go back to your city. Issei, that's right, running through an entire city plus the huge forest isn't easy. See you later Master Kiba, in 1 year I equaled Silver Fang, but that's incredible. Tatsuya, Kiba, look, he said seriously, from now on things won't be calm. In front of them now stood a red door. Chapter 5 Memoirs Part 1. Kiba and Tatsuya entered the red door, and as they did so Tatsuya recognized the place. Tatsuya, is this the school? He said, confused. Then they saw Issei walk by, but they noticed that his footsteps were leaving green marks. Tatsuya, let's follow Issei, he said seriously. Along the way they saw how everyone looked at Issei with disgusted and mocking expressions until they arrived at his classroom where Issei received the same looks. Kiba was confused, but Tatsuya remembered when they were children and recounted that Issei liked monsters, which caused Issei to be ostracized even more, not only for not having quirks but also for supporting monsters. But something interrupted his thoughts. Well, how are you Issei? He said mockingly. Tatsuya recognized the boy instantly upon seeing him. Tatsuya, is that me? He said surprised. Tatsuya from the past TP. Issei, he just glared at him angrily. I was fine until you arrived. The young Tatsuya showed an angry face at Issei's words. TP, what did you say? He said angrily. Issei, are you deaf? He said, standing in front of Tatsuya. TP guys, he said smiling. As he said that, Tatsuya's friends restrained Issei. Issei, idiots, he said angrily. TP started hitting Issei while his friends held him down, but Issei managed to free his right hand and hit the boy holding his left hand. This surprised TP, who didn't realize that Issei was preparing his hand to punch him in the face, hitting him directly in the nose and knocking him to the ground. Issei, take this, he said furiously, starting to hit TP in the face uncontrollably, surprising his companions. Upon seeing that, Tatsuya remembered that day and touched his face. Issei showed no signs of wanting to stop, but before he could continue, the master arrived and immediately restrained him. Teacher, what happened here? He said seriously. Boy, Issei started hitting Tatsuya because he played a prank on him, he said, and the others nodded. Issei, that's a lie, Tatsuya was bothering me, I was just defending myself, he said angrily. Master Issei, go to the principal's office, he said seriously. Issei angrily obeyed. Kiba, wow, he really beat you up, he said, following Issei. Tatsuya stood still for a moment but then followed Kiba. Outside Issei's mind. Monster, I'm not afraid of them even if they are the strongest class heroes, he said angrily. Bang, Nana, you take care of that monster. All Might, take the students to a safe place. I'll take care of my student, he said seriously. Nana, did you already have everything planned? Bang, no, he said simply. All Might, okay, be careful, he said with his typical smile. All Might took advantage of Issei's distraction and grabbed Ryu to go to where the teachers were, finding Tatsuya and Kiba's bodies lying on the way. Back with Bang, he looked at Issei. Nana, hey Silver, you never told us why you caused what happened a year ago, she said, looking at Issei. Bang, it's complicated, but he was beaten and hated in his childhood, unfairly mistreated. Always 1 against 3, he said seriously. Nana, what? She said, confused. Bang, he never followed the crowd because he always had his own judgment, he said seriously. He reasoned differently from others, and not having a quirk made life difficult for him, and he always hid all that mistreatment from his family, and one day. Before finishing, he had to dodge an attack from the monster. Before the attack hit the ground, Nana sent it flying into the sky. Nana, she can not only fly and control minds but also create energy attacks. Monster, you're strong, I admit you impress me. Nana, of course I'm strong. The symbol of peace must have the power to maintain that peace. Monster, what peace? Humans are like monsters, beings of destruction. Nana, of course not. Monster, ha, first let me introduce myself properly. I'm Vaccine Man. I was created from the pollution on Earth, the pollution that humans cause daily. Nana, and why the name Vaccine? Vaccine means vaccine man. Vaccine, Mother Earth is a living being with cancer. This cancer is humans and we monsters are the vaccine. After saying that, he began to mutate. Vaccine, but sometimes you have to take part of that disease to create the cure. Looks at Issei, that's why we need the human monster. Issei just smiled and attacked Silver Fang, who immediately prepared for the attack. When Issei saw that Bang was going to be serious, he did the same. Thus they both began an even fight in which neither gave ground. Meanwhile, Nana decided to attack the monster with a Detroit smash. Chapter 6 Memoirs Part 2. Kiba and Tatsuya followed an annoyed Issei as he headed to the principal's office. Upon arriving, Issei knocked on the door and received a come-in in response. Once inside, he sat down in a chair in front of the principal. Director, young Issei, your master sent me a message claiming to have found you beating up young Tatsuya, he said seriously. Issei, yes, but it was for defense. Director, I played a prank on you and you can't handle the anger over something so insignificant. According to your classmates, he said, interrupting Issei. Issei, that's a lie, he said angrily. Director, and why would your colleagues lie? He said seriously. Issei, because everyone likes Tatsuya, he said angrily. While they just look at me like I'm some kind of freak, he said sadly. Director, don't lie, everyone confirmed the story. I'll let it slide just because your grades are among the best. Issei just remained silent. Director, you can leave now, he said seriously. Issei left and closed the door, which immediately turned red. Tatsuya, let's continue, he said, opening the door. Kiba followed Tatsuya. Upon entering, they found themselves at the top of a building. They saw the deceased Human Torch hero lying on the ground near death and another person in combat gear and a mask who appeared unharmed. Human Torch, I underestimated you, son, he said with a smile. With that, the masked man removed his mask, revealing Issei. Issei, I know you thought that since I don't have a quirk you could kill me easily, but that didn't happen. Human Torch, end this, he said, closing his eyes. Issei walked a little, placing his foot on his father's neck. Issei, goodbye, he said with a somber look. After saying that, a sound was heard in the place. Crack. Issei removed his foot from his father's neck and was about to leave, but he felt a sharp pain in his back. When he turned around, he saw a support drone. Issei, shit, angry shout. Without thinking, Issei ran towards the drone, destroying it. Issei, damn it, I have to get the tracker off as soon as possible, he said, touching the area where the drone fired. Kiba and Tatsuya were surprised by what Issei did, but suddenly a green door appeared. Kiba, I'll kill him, but why, he said, confused. Tatsuya, I don't know, but let's keep going, he said seriously. The two proceeded to enter the gate. Upon entering, they were in Ku Park and managed to see Issei on top of a tree. Issei, I have to find something to remove the tracker before they send S-class troops to capture me, he said seriously. Issei continued resting in the tree until a green-haired boy sat down on a nearby bench and began to read. Issei wouldn't have paid any attention if it weren't for the book's title, Hero Registry, so he approached the boy. Issei, hello. The boy was startled by the sudden appearance of Issei, who was wearing a mask. Boy, hello sir, what do you need? He said nervously. Issei, I was just passing by, but that book of yours caught my eye. Kid, my Hero Registry, Issei, if you lend it to me. Boy, okay, he said, handing the book to Issei. Issei glanced at it quickly and closed the book to give it back to the boy. Issei, he has detailed information on all the heroes in this city from Class C to Class S, thanks. Boy, don't worry, and one question, are you a hero? Issei, not just a vigilante, he said as he left. Tatsuya and Kiba wondered why Issei had borrowed the book from the boy, but a red door appeared in front of them both. Kiba, Tatsuya, where does this door lead us? Tatsuya, I don't know if I want to know, he said seriously. Outside Issei's mind. Silver Fang and Issei were having a fierce battle, but Issei had large wounds on his body, while Silver Fang only had a little blood on his forehead. Bang, you've grown weak. A year ago you would have easily beaten me, he said seriously. While Nana had already torn off one of Vaxenman's hands, she was already showing the first signs of exhaustion. Nana, I didn't think that transforming would raise you to a Dragon threat class. If I had known, I would have finished you off quickly, she said seriously. Vaxenman, I'm a superior being. It's logical that you can't defeat me, he said mockingly. Nana, a superior being wouldn't have lost their spleen so easily, would they? She said mockingly. Vaxenman, you disgusting human, how dare you, he said angrily. Vaxenman threw his fist at Nana, who jumped onto his arm and ran up it to Vaxenman's face. Nana, Texas smash. The heroine screamed at the top of her lungs. The blow caused half of Vaxenman's face to be torn off, causing his death as he fell to the ground, destroying part of the academy in the fall. Nana, to be superior, yes of course. The moment Nana killed Vaccine Man, Issei's eyes turned black and part of his hair did too, something Bang noticed instantly. Bang, knowing that this was not good, decided to continue attacking his disciple. In Issei's mind, Kiba and Tatsuya stared at the door, wondering whether to open it or not, but a tremor caused them both to fall inside. Upon entering, they saw Issei with severe injuries in front of a warehouse door, and behind him the green-haired boy. Issei made a hole in the wall with his finger. Izuku, could you lend me your book? He said, looking at the heroes through the hole. The boy, now known as Izuku, handed the book to Issei. Note: watching the videos is mandatory. When Izuku ran off, Issei had planned to leave too, but when he turned around. So you're the human monster, he said lazily. This has to be a joke, he said angrily. How did you know my location, Eraserhead? I destroyed the tracker. Eraserhead, I received a distress signal from this location, and knowing about the 92 heroes you defeated, I assumed it was you, but if we count these 8, that makes 100 heroes defeated. Congratulations. In one day you defeated 99 heroes and killed one. You set a record, he said seriously. Issei looked at the heroes, noticing that one of the glasses had a transmitter. Issei, in my current state I can't escape, and if I fight I'll fall halfway through the battle, damn it. You're just another stepping stone I'll climb, he said angrily. Eraserhead, you won't last in your current state, and if I deactivate your quirks you won't stand a chance. Upon hearing Eraserhead's words, Issei smiled, though this was not noticeable because of his mask. Issei attacked Eraserhead, who used his quirk, which allows him to cancel the quirks of others, and then trapped Issei with his bandages. Eraserhead, that was stupid, he said, looking at Issei as he tied him up on his back. Issei, the stupid thing was putting myself on your back, he said mockingly. Issei tore off Eraserhead's bandages, and taking advantage of the fact that he was behind him, would have struck him on the back of the neck to knock him out if it weren't for. Smash, the subject shouted. The blow hit him squarely, sending him crashing into the trees. Issei, that blow broke my ribs. All Might, can things get any worse? He said mockingly. At that moment another person arrived. Issei, ah shit, here we go again, Dijo Cansado. Chapter 7 Memoirs Part 3. Issei got up as best he could and prepared to attack. Nana, hey, you're not in any condition to fight. Don't complicate things and just give up, she said seriously. All Might, if I'm not mistaken, the arrows in your back are poisoned and you have a gunshot wound in your leg. You won't be able to hold your own against us, he said seriously. Issei, they think I'll give up without a fight. They can't stand me laughing, he said angrily. Eraserhead, one question, do you have a quirk? He said seriously. Issei, no, and that doesn't matter. Even without one, I've already defeated 100 heroes, and I would have beaten you if it weren't for the Brothers of Peace. Is that what they're called? He said mockingly. Nana, so you don't have quirks, and why are you doing this? She said seriously. Issei, do what? He said, confused. Nana, humiliating the heroes. Issei, I wouldn't do it if they didn't get in my way, he said angrily. All Might, you killed an S-class hero, one who had a family, you know, he said seriously. Issei, of course I know, but that bastard deserved it, he said angrily. All Might, that's enough. I won't tolerate you speaking about a hero like that, he said, lunging at Issei. Issei didn't have time to react, so he took the full force of the blow, but while All Might had his fist on him, he punched him in the face. All Might used his other arm to punch him, which Issei barely stopped, but he received a knee strike from All Might. However, he returned the favor with a headbutt that stunned All Might. Issei took advantage of that and jumped back, but in the air he had to block a punch from Nana which sent him crashing to the ground where he rolled until he hit a tree. Issei, I can't give up now, I've come too far to quit, he thought with frustration. But before he could get up, bandages held his foot and made him spin around, but when he passed close to the ground he took one of the hero's scythes and cut the bandage that held him. Issei, my turn, he said angrily. Issei threw the scythe, which had a chain attached, at Eraserhead, who moved to the side to avoid it. But Issei pulled the scythe back, and upon returning it lodged in Eraserhead's shoulder, pulling him towards Issei, who unleashed a barrage of blows from which Eraserhead could not defend himself. Issei powered up one of the blows, sending Eraserhead flying, but All Might and Nana positioned themselves in front of Issei, surprising him. Nana, All Might, Texas SMASHH. Issei managed to defend himself, blocking all the blows from both heroes, but in a moment of carelessness Nana landed a blow that completely shattered his defense, causing him to receive the barrage of blows from the brothers. Issei, finding himself in that situation, felt himself slowly losing strength. Issei, am I about to pass out, or am I about to die? What? Issei began to remember every part of his life, but one in particular. It's memory. Issei, goodbye. Irina sniffs at a small, crying Issei. Irina, gee, goodbye Issei, she said, just like Issei. These two were a little ways away from Issei's parents and siblings, who were saying goodbye. Irina, Issei, promise me you'll wait for me until the day I return, she said sadly. Issei, I promise, he said, smiling. I hope to see you again, he said sadly again. Irina, I agree, she said, smiling. Without warning, Irina kissed Issei, who froze in shock at what his friend had done. Irina, goodbye, she said as she left with her parents. Issei stood there, but then he came to his senses and ran in search of Irina, but he saw his parents' car leaving, so he ran after it. Issei, I'll be waiting for you, Irina, he shouted with all his might, I promise. No matter what happens, I'll wait for you, the little Issei whispered. End of memories. Issei, no, I can't lose, not now, he shouted as he punched each of his attackers, sending them flying. Issei jumped back, positioning himself on a rock from which he could appreciate the now night sky. While All Might and Nana stared at Issei, his mask broken, as was the top of his suit, his hair stained red with blood, standing on stone with one red eye and one bright yellow eye, the night sky at his back. Issei could only feel his blood and sweat mixing all over his body, fragments of his broken bones tearing through his flesh from the inside, and the poison from the arrows coursing through his veins, but Issei, come for my heroes, he said seriously. All Might was the first to attack, but Issei, like an animal, leaped at All Might, preparing to kick him. All Might stopped the kick, but the blow knocked him back, which Issei took advantage of to appear behind him and kick him in the back. Nana, seeing this, went to help her brother, but when she arrived, Issei grabbed her leg and slammed her repeatedly against the ground before throwing her into the forest. Before the fight continued, an earthquake shook the area. Issei, it's not time to think, it's time to run, he said as he escaped from the place. Tatsuya and Kiba, who had witnessed the entire memory, were impressed by everything Issei had done, but then a purple door appeared before them. Tatsuya, it's time, he said seriously. Chapter 8 Dragon. Tatsuya, it's time, he said seriously. Kiba, time for what, he said confused. Tatsuya, the purple door will send us to the center of Issei's mind, where I'm sure he is, he said seriously. Kiba, well, what are we waiting for? He said nervously. So the two of them went inside, and what they saw left them impressed. The place was immense and there were hundreds of mountains floating, but in the center of it all was a huge sphere in which millions of images appeared. Kiba, Tatsuya, what is that? He said in amazement. Tatsuya, that's all Issei has experienced up to this day, he said seriously. Well, they are persistent, he said mockingly. Both Kiba and Tatsuya looked at a rock behind them where they saw someone very familiar. Tatsuya, Issei, is that you? He said in amazement. In fact, it's him, he said, pointing to another rock where Issei was chained up. Kiba, and who are you? He said seriously. I am only what that monster created in this place based on Issei's feelings. Tatsuya, so you're made from Issei's negative feelings, right? He said seriously. You're right, he said with a smile. Tatsuya, and what should we call you? He said, confused. I think Jeff, that's a good name, he said, looking at Tatsuya, and what exactly are you doing here? He said seriously. Tatsuya, that's none of your business, he said seriously. Grrrarr. Jeff, seriously, that bastard again, he said, a little scared. At that moment, a huge red dragon appeared in the sky. Dragon, come here, you cursed thing. The enormous dragon roared furiously. Kiba, what the hell, what's a dragon doing here? He shouted in fear. Tatsuya, and what the hell do I know? he said just like Kiba. The enormous dragon flew towards Jeff, striking him with its tail and sending him flying, but it noticed Kiba and Tatsuya's presence and looked at them, preparing a call in its mouth. Tatsuya, wait, we're on the same team, he said, terrified. Kiba, dragons don't have TAMS, he said as he escaped. Tatsuya, and how do you know, he said, running in another direction. The enormous dragon unleashed a fiery blast at Tatsuya, who used his psychic powers to create a wall of rocks, but the fire melted the rocks, causing the wall to transform into a wave of lava. Tatsuya, I'm going to be taken away. Outside Issei's mind. Tatsuya, damn it. Scared scream. Tatsuya unknowingly scared everyone in the school shelter except for one person, who was Tatsuya. All might, he said in amazement. All Might, that's young. Tatsuya, what are you doing here? All Might, my sister and I came because of a distress signal and we found the human monster fighting some students and an extra monster. And you, how did you end up fainting? He said, confused. Tatsuya, Kiba, everything depends on you now, he thought, looking at Kiba on a stretcher. You see, what's happening is that. Inside Issei's mind. Kiba watched as Tatsuya disappeared after the lava fell on him. Kiba, I have to free Issei quickly, he said, frightened. Kiba jumped from rock to rock until he ended up on the rock where Issei was chained up. Kiba, hello, I'm Yudo Kiba. Your brother sent me to free you, he said seriously. Issei. Kiba, here I go, he said seriously. Following that, I summon a sword, but before I can cut the chains, I hear a voice. Issei, it's useless, not even he could break them, he said, looking down. Kiba, though, without warning, Kiba received a tail whip that sent him flying. Issei, D-Drag, you didn't have to do that. The enemy is what was his name again, he said, looking up. Dragon Jeff Dijo Sirio. Jeff, damn it, he yelled with hatred. Just then the aforementioned appeared, trying to harm D-Drag with a punch to the face which was useless. Issei, speaking of the devil, he said seriously. D-Drag, the face is peeking out, he said seriously. After that, D-Drag gave Jeff another tail whip, sending him crashing into a floating mountain. D-Drag, I'll take care of him. You explain to that child what's going on, he said seriously. Without further ado, D-Drag launched himself at Jeff. Issei, I think that will be impossible for me, he said, looking at where Kiba had gone, but at least he went in the right direction. Kiba had fallen into one of the mountains below. Kiba, damn, that hurt, he said wearily. Where am I? Kiba simply stood up, but when he looked around he saw several spheres floating. Kiba, what are these things? He said, confused. I'd better go back to Issei. Without further ado, Kiba jumped back to where Issei was, and upon arriving he saw that the dragon was fighting Jeff. Issei, you're back, he said seriously. Kiba, if I have to get you out of here, after all, he said seriously, but you said they couldn't be broken, so what do I do? Issei, you have to find one of my memories. Kiba, and what would that be? Issei, it's a technique I invented, a rock-shattering current, he said seriously. Kiba, seriously, you don't remember your own technique? Issei, that damned thing scattered my memories all over this place, but I'm sure the one I need is on the island where you fell a few moments ago. Kiba, and how do I know which one it is? Issei, normally the memories of the Rock Smasher fist techniques are blue, and I only removed one technique, so it will be the only blue one. Kiba, you just had to say it was the blue one. Issei, but you understood. Without further ado, Kiba returned to the island where he saw several spheres floating. Kiba, blue sphere, there are only grays, he said seriously, where this is shouldn't be difficult. Kiba didn't finish speaking when he saw the blue sphere in a tree. Kiba, this was relatively easy. Kiba simply took the sphere and returned to Issei. Issei, you see it wasn't difficult. Kiba, now what do I do with this? Issei populated my head. Kiba did what Issei asked and... Chapter 9, Free Mind. When Kiba placed the sphere, the chains began to crack, so Issei broke free with a simple movement. Kiba, weren't you going to use a technique? He asked, confused. Issei, I lied to you, it was just a memory, he said simply. Kiba, so what now? Issei, you leave and D-Drag, and I will take care of that bastard, he said seriously. Kiba, and how do I get out of here? Issei, through the exit, he said seriously. Kiba, which exit? He said confused. Outside Issei's mind. Tatsuya, and that's what's happened so far, he said seriously. All Might, and what did you discover? Before Tatsuya could speak, Kiba woke up feeling somewhat dizzy. Kiba, what happened? He said confused. Tatsuya, Kiba, did you do it? He said hopefully. Kiba, huh, oh yeah, but Issei said I had to face that whatever it is, he said seriously. Kiba, are you okay? She said seriously. Kiba, Bachu, he said seriously. You can answer my question, she said seriously. Kiba, if Bachu, he said seriously. All Might, is she one of the demons in charge of this city? Excuse me, could you take care of the rest of your teammates? I have to go and provide support up there, he said seriously. Rias, don't worry, we'll take care of it, she said seriously. All Might, thank you, see you later. After saying that, he left the shelter. Kiba Butchu, we need to talk, he said seriously. Abroad, Issei Jeff Hala. He was in a big fight against Nana and Silver Fang, which he was losing decisively. Issei Jeff jumped back, positioning himself to fight. Note only more woundeds. Issei Jeff launched himself at Nana, unleashing a barrage of blows that prevented her from counterattacking. But Silver appeared behind him, ready to strike, which he barely dodged, causing Nana to take the hit and be sent flying. Before Silver could withdraw his arm, Issei Jeff grabbed him, spun him around, and threw him in the opposite direction from Nana. Issei Jeff, this is getting complicated, haha, he thought wearily. Nana, wow, you still have strength after all. Silver was right, you have potential, she said, emerging from the rubble while dusting herself off. Silver, there's a reason he's my best disciple, he said, emerging from the rubble while cracking his back. Issei Jeff, we'd better go all out, he said seriously. Without further ado, he started running on all fours towards Nana, who launched herself at full speed towards Jeff, who jumped into a tree. Without wasting any time, Jeff used the tree to gain momentum against Nana, kicking her, which Nana dodged to counterattack. Then he delivered one last blow, sending Nana to the academy. Jeff Issei one less, he said wearily. He didn't realize it, but Silver Fang was heading towards him until he received a blow from the front, sending him crashing into the academy wall. Jeff Issei gave a barely perceptible scream. At that moment, All Might arrived. All Might, I see you have everything under control, but where is my sister? He said, confused. Bang, it's in the academy, he said, pointing to it. As soon as All Might looked in that direction, they saw Nana emerge from the rubble. Nana, it's been a long time since they gave us so much trouble, she said, wiping her suit. Jeff Issei, what? He has no injuries, shit, he thought, frustrated. Nana, I ask you kindly, surrender. We are prepared to fight God-level threats as a team and bang dragon-level threats too, just leave the boy alone, she said seriously. Jeff Issei, I was trying to say. Bang, you're at demon threat level bordering on demon level, surrender, he said seriously. Under the gaze of the heroes, he stood up and took his battle stance. Jeff Issei, no, he said seriously. Thus they engaged in another tough fight in which the heroes were winning at one point. All Might and Nana delivered a blow at the same time which was aimed at Issei's chest. Meanwhile, in Issei's mind, this guy and D-Drake were beating Jeff up, who would come back every time they destroyed him, no matter how powerful the attack was. Issei, why don't you just stay dead? He said angrily. Jeff, I am your negative emotions and that never dies, he said smiling. D-Drake, but they can be reset, he said thoughtfully. Issei, what? He said confused. D-Drake, if you lose your memory, your emotions reset, he said seriously. Jeff, haha, but don't think I'll give up this body so easily, he said angrily. D-Drake, but what about me? He said while looking at Issei. Issei, do it, he said seriously but sadly. D-Drake, I hope they help you, he said sadly. After saying that, D-Drake unleashed all his power, causing a massive burst of fire in Issei's mind that consumed all the gates and spheres of memories, dreams, nightmares, everything was gone. In the real world, the combined attack from Nana and All Might hit Issei in the chest at the same time he had fallen unconscious. The moment the blow hit Issei, the cracking of Issei's ribs was heard as he went flying towards the academy. All Might, don't get overconfident, he said seriously. Both Nana and Silver Fang obeyed and waited for Issei to come out. A minute passed, but he didn't appear, so All Might approached. All Might, I escaped, he shouted, impressed at not having noticed. Nana, what? When did that happen? She said, impressed. Bang, he was injured, he couldn't go far. We must look for him, he said seriously. Thus they began their search. Somewhere 2 hours later. Issei, where am I? He said, confused. Oh, you're awake, I'll go tell Butchu, she said seriously. Issei, wait, he said, trying to stand up. He tried to follow the white-haired girl but decided to stay. After a while he saw the door open and 4 people came out, a purply-haired woman, a redhead, a blonde, and the white-haired girl from a while ago. Issei, excuse me, who are you? He asked, confused. Don't you know? She said, confused. Issei, no, the truth is I don't remember anything, he said, touching his forehead. Well, from today onwards, I, Rias Gremory, am your mistress and you are my servant. These are Aiknasen, Kibasen, and Konkachin. she said, introducing her companions. Issei, and what's my name, he said, confused. Rias, she can't use his name, that would be a problem, I know. She thought nervously. Issei, so what's my name, he said again, confused. Rias Garou Taoju, she said with a smile. When Rias said Issei's new name, everyone present was impressed, but especially a certain white-haired girl. Chapter 10 Garou. Alex, from now on I'll write Garou instead of Issei for a while. Garou Taoju, he said, confused, and why don't I remember anything? Rias, well, we found you on the verge of death. Your ribs were broken and bone fragments pierced your lungs and heart, she said seriously. Garou, what happened to me, he said, surprised. Rias, you're facing 3 S-class heroes, and considering that 2 of them together can take on a low-level god, she whispered, touching her chin. Garou S-class, what's that, he said, confused. Rias, you'll know soon enough. Speaking of knowing, you know a lot for having lost your memory, she said, confused. Garou, did I lose my memory? Rias, yes, but let's see what you remember. Can you help me, girls, she said with a smile. Kiba coughs. Rias, and boy, she said nervously. Aquino, and what did we ask him, she said, confused. Rias, things she should know at her age, anything. Kaneko, how old are you? Garou, 16. Kiba, what is 22? Garou, 4. Rias, what is history? Garou, events of things that happen in chronological order. Aquino, how are babies made? She said in a seductive tone. Issei, I don't know, he said calmly. Rias, don't even think about it, Aquino, she said seriously. Aquino, what about me? She said innocently. And so they continued until Kaneko asked a certain question. Kaneko, do you know how to fight? Garou, yes. Kiba, what fighting style? Garou, water fist shatters rocks. Rias, do you remember anyone? Garou, only a brunette girl with pigtails and another smaller one. Aquino, where do you live? Garou, no see. Rias, you remember everything except who you are and most of the people you've lived with, which I miss, she said seriously. Garou, and now what? Rias, as you know, you're now Garou Taoju and she's Kaneko Taoju, so I'll pass you off as siblings, she said, pointing at the lowly. Garou, and how will he do that? Rias, that's right, I haven't told you, we're demons, she said calmly. Garou, I explained to him about the supernatural world, and for some reason he liked the fact that he was a demon. Rias, the first thing to make them look like siblings is to change your appearance. Aquino, and that's where I come in. She said, touching her chest. At that moment a magic circle appeared on the ground. Garou, what is this? Aquino, don't move, she said with a smile. Following that, a light enveloped Garou, and as he disappeared. Aquino, ara, you look handsome, she said blushing. Garou, well, I think it's not bad. Rias, I just have to sort a few things out and you'll be at the Acadia when they rebuild it, of course. Garou, Rias, I almost forgot to check if you have a sacred gear, she said seriously. Garou, what is that? Alex, here I'm going to explain a made-up theory. Rias, as you know, 80% of the world has a quirk, right? You remember that, don't you? Garou, yes, I remember now. Rias, well, 3% of that population are supernatural beings and the other 20% are sometimes, believe it or not, stronger than people with quirks, since this 20% possess artifacts created by the leader of heaven. Garou, God. When he said that, everyone got a headache. Aquino, Garou-kun, you can't say his name. Remember, we're demons. Garou, sorry. Rias, these artifacts were created so that ordinary humans could defend themselves against supernatural beings, monsters, and other humans, but the knowledge of them was lost. The name of these artifacts is Sacred Gear. Garou, and how do I activate my Sacred Gear, he said curiously. Rias, raise your hand and think of the most powerful thing you can imagine, she said seriously. Garou's a powerful Goes to Rias, here we go. Garou concentrated as much as possible, and a crimson-red glow appeared in his hand. Rias and her entourage watched in amazement, as Kiba had told them that Garou possessed the Red Emperor Dragon. But the crimson-red color soon turned into a dull gray and faded away, revealing a gray gauntlet with a blue gem. Rias, what happened? She said, confused. Kaneko, that's not normal, is it, Butchu? She said seriously. Garou, hey. Rias, what's wrong? Garou, can you give me some clean clothes? These are torn and covered in blood and it's just a pair of pants. Rias, I'm sorry, but I only have women's clothing here, she said apologetically. Garou, okay, so what now? Rias, we'll wait until they rebuild the academy to go to classes, but in the meantime we'll teach you what you don't remember, okay? Garou, no problem. And so the days passed, a total of 38 days in which the academy was rebuilt, and in which Garou strengthened his friendship with his new classmates. Which brings us to the first day of classes at Ku Academy, which is already a week behind schedule due to the incident. Garou, I'm getting nervous, he said, taking a sip of his coffee. Kaneko, calm down, it's not that big of a deal, she said seriously. Garou, these past few days I haven't had any contact with anyone other than you guys. And the girl who sold me the coffee, he said nervously. Connect why? Garou, you're in first year, Kiba's in second but in a different class, and Aiknasen and Butchu are in third year. I'll be alone, he said nervously. Kaneko, we're here, she said seriously. Garou, I know it sounds absurd, but will you come with me to my classroom? He said, scratching his cheek. Kaneko laughed at Garou's childish way of acting, and everyone watching was surprised because the serious loli was laughing like a normal person. Hasei Kaneko accompanied Garou to his classroom, leaving him there and going to her own classroom. Garou, calm down, it's not so bad, he said nervously. The next thing he did was knock on the door, at which point the professor came out. Professor, you're the young Garou, aren't you? He said seriously. Garou, yes. Professor, wait a moment. He said, entering. As you know, classes started yesterday, but one student had to wait until today to start because of paperwork. You can come in now, he said, looking at the door. At that moment, Garou entered, drawing everyone's attention because of his size, as he was quite tall and intimidating. Professor, you may introduce yourself. He said seriously. Garou, nice to meet you, my name is Garou Taoju, he said nervously. Chapter 11, A Heavy Day. Professor, well, you can sit next to Midoriya, he said calmly. Garou, who is Midoriya? At that moment a boy raised his hand. Nice to meet you, my name is Midoriya Tatsuya, he said calmly. Garou, his name sounds familiar, could it be that I knew him before I lost my memory? Midoriya and the heroine Tatsumaki, are they related? Hello kindly. Tatsuya, hello, nice to meet you, he said similarly. Classes went by normally until the last one. The quirk training where they asked our protagonist a question. Professor, hey Garou, your quirks are the same as your sister's, right? He said, looking at some papers. Garou, yes, he said seriously. Master super strength, reflexes and stamina, he said, impressed you fight hand-to-hand, right? He said seriously. Garou, if I can also analyze my opponent's fighting style. That's convenient because it allows me to create very effective counterattacks, he said seriously. Master, well, we'll see about that. By the way, you'll be fighting against Kinzoku Bad, he said seriously. When he said his name, some tensed up and made way for. Bad, then I'll fight you. He said seriously. Garou, you're bad, nice. To meet you, he said, extending his hand. Something Garou didn't expect was for Bad to slap his hand. Bad, maybe you respect me, but if you want mine, earn it. He said as he walked away. So far no one has managed it. Garou, then it's a challenge, he said, smiling. Bad, we'll see, he said seriously. Thus the battles took place in a pocket dimension created by the new teacher at the academy, where Tatsuya's fight with another student lasted so long that classes ended for the other students, but the final fight was still to come. Hero, Bad versus Garou villain. Some students approached to look among themselves at the occult club. Master, very well, the training will take place in a replica of the city square. The objective for both of you is to knock each other out. Are you ready? He said seriously. Garou, if. Bad, if. Master, all right, he said, using his quirk to create a pocket dimension. Begin. At that moment, the enormous screen showed Garou and Bad in a city. Bad, let's finish this quickly, he said seriously. Garou, good, he said, smiling. Bad, I just hope you don't leave her, but before he could finish, he had to use his bat to cover himself. But what? Garou, you're fast, he said seriously. But before they separated, he received a blow to the chest from Bad's bat that tore his shirt as if it had been cut open. Garou, cough, 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 and loud, he said, coughing. Garou looked at the ground for a moment, and then at the drain cover for a moment. Bad, what's happening? My punch paralyzed you, he said seriously. In response, he saw Garou stomp on the ground, from which the lid emerged, which hit in the direction of Bad, who hit it in another direction. What he didn't expect was that Garou would take advantage of his carelessness to deliver a flurry of blows. During the beating, Bad ended up quite injured, but he looked at Garou and Garou did the same. Garou/Bad, good warm-up. They said at the same time, facing each other, emanating their auras. Bad quickly threw a punch that Garou dodged by leaning back, so Bad threw another punch, this time aimed at his feet, so Garou jumped and kicked him in the head. But to their surprise, Bad didn't move from his place. Bad, Gra, he yelled, unleashing a flurry of punches that pushed Garou away. When Garou landed, he saw Bad about to hit him. Garou, when did it move? What? He thought in surprise. Without wasting any time, Garou jumped to the side, avoiding the blow but barely, as it was just centimeters away from hitting him. What surprised him was the fact that although the blow hit the ground, it destroyed it and a building with great ease. Garou, if I hadn't dodged it, I'd be finished now. Bad, that bastard, his speed is incredible. He was able to dodge my best attack, he thought angrily. Garou, I admit I'm afraid of you, he said, smiling. Bad, if we're going to admit things, then I'll admit you're strong, he said, resting his bat on his shoulder. Garou, how about we end this? He said seriously. Bad, I disagree, he said, running towards Garou. Garou mimicked his action and they clashed bat against fist and continued like this, with the difference that neither one was blocking the other's attacks. This had become a battle of endurance in which they were evenly matched until Garou kicked Bad's bat away, forcing him to fight hand-to-hand, fist-to-fist. Meanwhile, those who watched were fascinated by such a savage fight. Garou, this ends now, he yelled, punching Bad and sending him flying. Bad crashed into a building, causing a cloud of dust. Garou, this is over, I win, he said, jumping towards Bad to finish him off, but Garou in midair watched as a bat headed towards his face, then everything went black. 1 hour later, a Garou was seen lying in a bed with a bandage on his head, who began to wake up. Garou, what happened, he said with difficulty. Kaneko, you lost, she said seriously. The little lowly appeared out of nowhere, and Garou did the most logical thing in the multiverse. Garou, he screamed, almost falling out of bed. Sister, you should seriously consider becoming a ninja, he said angrily. Before they could continue chatting with Aquino and Kiba. Rias, I see you're awake already, she said cheerfully. Garou, if but you saw my fight, he said seriously. Aquino, almost the entire academy saw your fight. You were incredible, so much so that you deserve an award, she said in a seductive tone. Kiba, it's a shame you didn't win, you already had Bad in check. Garou, I got overconfident in the end, he said seriously. Rias, hey, you did a good job, and speaking of work, tonight we're going to hunt a rogue demon, she said seriously. Garou, I'm sure I won't fall this time, he said seriously. Chapter 12, Annoying Fights. After recovering, Garou was ready to fight the rogue demon, so the Gremory entourage headed to the meeting place, and on Rias' orders they separated into teams. Rias, Aquino and Kaneko Team 1 and Kiba and Garou Team 2. Garou, are you serious? He said with a poker face. Kiba, what? He said, confused. Garou, because the bad guys always hide in caves, houses, cellars, and abandoned factories full of spiders and hicks. Because they can't be in a strip club watching women dance. Because it always has to be in places like these, he complained. Kiba, you've become a bit of a pervert, haven't you? He said, seeing something move. Garou, a little bit, yes, he said calmly. Help please, she said with difficulty. Garou, who's there, he said seriously. Kiba, be careful, the renegades always do this kind of thing, he said seriously. They both carefully approached the voice and found the rogue demon, who turned out to be a grotesque-looking woman. She was on the verge of death. Her appearance suggested that her blood had been sucked. Kiba, what the hell happened here? He said, surprised. Garou, another rogue, he said, confused. Damon, they were mosquitoes, he said, dying. Garou, mosquitoes, he said, confused. At that moment, Rias and the others arrived, seeing the scene. Rias, good job, guys, you finished it quickly, she said, smiling. Garou, it wasn't us, he said seriously. Aquino, and who was it, she said, confused. Kiba, did you say they were mosquitoes? Garou, and seeing the pickets, he's not lying, he said seriously. Rias, how did mosquitoes do this? She said, confused. Garou, it was a monster, possibly an ogre-level threat, and it will most likely attack the city, he said seriously. Kiba, how do you know? Garou, I'd heard that cattle were dying like this outside the city. The heroes are supposedly hunting them down, but he's interrupted. Rias, then we have to warn them, she said seriously. Garou, what Rias? Aquino and I will go to the city to put them on alert, she said seriously. Without further ado, Rias and Aquino withdrew into a magic circle. Kiba, well, we'll withdraw, he said seriously. Kaneko, yes. Imitating their mistress's actions, they both disappeared into different magic circles. But Garou, they left me knowing I can't use magic circles, sons of bitches. Garou had to leave the place unaware that someone was following him, but halfway there he saw an explosion of fire, so he went to the place to make sure that no one was there. When he arrived at the city, he realized that it had been evacuated. Garou, that was quick. I guess I should head to the shelter with the others, he said listlessly. Without further ado, Garou turned around, ready to go to the shelter, but he had to dodge a beam of energy that passed close to his face, followed by an explosion that generated a cloud of dust. When it dissipated, he managed to see 3 individuals. V's. Garou was impressed by the sudden appearance of the fighters, who did not stop and continued fighting. But Garou saw that although it was a 2v1 fight, the Mosquito Girl had the advantage thanks to her regeneration, speed, and resistance and demonic energy. During the fight, the Mosquito Girl sliced the man in half, which angered the woman, who turned her hand into a cannon which she pointed at the Mosquito Girl, who began to move from one place to another. "Cyborg woman, I'll stay put, you damned thing," she said angrily. "Mosquito Girl, okay," she said as she stopped. The cyborg woman, without hesitation, aimed at the Mosquito Girl, but realized that her partner was behind the Mosquito Girl, so she hesitated to fire. "Cyborg man, shoot, I can take it," he said seriously. "Cyborg woman, no you can't," she said angrily. "Mosquito Girl, come on, he won't get another chance like this. You're really worried about your brother, aren't you?" she said playfully. "Cyborg woman, they're my family, how could I not be worried?" she said angrily. When the girl said that, those words echoed in Garou's mind until a memory flooded him. Flashback. A man could be seen standing in front of a boy while Garou looked at them confused. Apparently it was raining and they were on the roof of a building. "Man, you really do care about them," he said seriously. "Boy, they're my family, how could I not be worried?" he said angrily. End flashback. After that brief flashback, Garou was confused, but after that memory he felt the need to help the brothers, so he lunged at the Mosquito Girl. "Mosquito Girl, what if you don't attack? Then I'll do it," she said playfully. The Mosquito Girl prepared to attack but was kicked into a vehicle by Garou, who then grabbed the cyborg man and brought him closer to his sister. "Cyborg woman, what are you doing here?" "You should be in a shelter," she said, confused. "Garou, you say thank you," he said offendedly as he put the man next to the girl. "Garou, after that explosion, it's very likely that a hero is on the way, we just have to hold on," he said seriously. "Girl, what makes you think we're not heroes?" she said seriously. "Garou, they don't have the affiliation of any association or company," he said seriously. "Cyborg, see what's your quirk?" he asked seriously. "Garou, I think he was a soldier, or was he a warrior, like?" Nessun said, he said with his hand on his chin. Before saying anything else, he had to dodge the Mosquito Girl's claws. "Garou, hey, don't attack with your guard down," he said angrily. "Mosquito Girl, look who's talking," she said angrily. The Mosquito Girl launched herself at Garou, who easily saw all her possible movements, so none of them managed to hit her, and it only increased the Mosquito Girl's anger, and using her anger to her advantage, she managed to dig her nails into the ground, but she easily broke free. "Garou, my assumptions were correct. You're not an ogre class, you're a demon class," he said seriously. "Mosquito Girl, my level increases thanks to blood consumption, and I recently obtained one that granted me incredible abilities," she said playfully. "Garou's the blood of the rogue demon, that's why I feel demonic energy," he thought confidently. "Mosquito Girl, let's drop the subject and get this over with," she said, as she disappeared in a burst of speed. This took Garou by surprise, who felt a breeze on his back, so he turned around, but the Mosquito Girl appeared behind him, or rather, where she had been looking straight ahead just moments before, ready to slash him with her claws, but suddenly the Mosquito Girl's chest was cut in a circular pattern, causing her death and pieces of her body to fall to the ground. This took Garou by surprise, who looked at the murder of his enemy. Chapter 13, The Phoenix. Garou was surprised by how easily the man finished off the monster, but at the same time he was angry, which confused him. "Hey kid, thanks for saving my disciples." "Garou, no pasa nada, and what is your name?" "Garou, still Garou and his son. My name is Bomb." "Garou, if you'll excuse me, I have to go." After saying that, Garou withdrew, not noticing that the old man seemed to want to tell him something. A few minutes later he was in front of his house, but upon entering he received a blow to the face. Once on the ground, he could see Kaneko with her fist outstretched. "Garou, why Kaneko, where were you?" "Garou, where did they leave me?" "Kaneko, I'm sorry, you should go to sleep." The next day, our protagonist was entering his classroom, noticing everyone staring at him. "Garou, what's happening now?" Before he could ask, he felt someone behind him, so he turned around and found Bad. "Bad, hello." "Garou, what's up, Bad? You have my respect. Yesterday you almost beat me, and for any of these inept people that's too much." "Garou, I expected you to boast about your victory." "Bad, do I look like that kind of person?" "Garou, but at least." Before continuing their conversation, the teacher entered, so everyone took a seat. "Teacher, I know it sounds like a joke, but we have 2 more new students who will be with us for 15 days. You can come in." When he said that, two blonde men known to Garou entered. Garrou's don't remind me, don't remind me. His thoughts were interrupted when he noticed her gaze on him. Garou shit. Teacher, they may well present themselves. Nice to meet you, my name is Yuyudo Mei, and mine is Yuyudo Genos. After they finished saying their names, everyone's attention was drawn to their last name. Master, I have a question. Are these things related to Yuyudo Kiba? After asking that question, everyone paid attention, but our protagonist noticed a hint of surprise on their faces. Genos, we have an older brother with that name, but we haven't heard from him in 6 years. After that response, everyone realized it wasn't a good topic, so classes continued normally. During recess, he saw the twins surrounded by their classmates, so he took the opportunity to look for Kiba, but he wasn't successful. Later, in the quirk control battles, his fight ended in 36 seconds as he only needed one blow. Meanwhile, Bad fought against Tatsuya, resulting in a beating for the latter. He also saw the twins' fighting abilities in more detail. Of course, their fights were almost as fast as his. Once the fights were over, he retired to the occult club, encountering Kiba along the way. Garou, Yuyutasen, wait, Kiba, what's happening? Garou, by any chance do you have two younger twin brothers with a cyborg quirk? After saying that, Kiba stood still, his calm expression turning into one of anger. Kiba, where did you see them? Garou, they're in my classroom, they'll be my classmates for another 14. Kiba, the best thing to do will be. Kiba's sudden silence unsettled Garou until he saw him looking at the old building. Kiba, I forgot I was coming today. Garou, who? Kiba, you'd better come and find out. Without further ado, they both headed towards the old building, finding Kaneko, Aquino, and Rias, the latter arguing with a blonde man. So you're still insistent about the rating game. Rias, yes, you know I can request a rating game, and if I win I can get our engagement cancelled. Razor, but I can ask for something too, remember. Rias, I already know that, and what would that be? Razor, now that you have a new piece, I'd like to meet him, perhaps he'll be someone interesting. Rias, don't even think I'll let you keep Garou-kun. Razor, Garou, that's his name. Judging by your reaction is very important to your entourage, right? After that statement, Rias became nervous but hid it. Rias, all my pieces are important, Aquino, Kaneko, Kiba, and Garou. Razor, I'd really like to meet that guy. And what kind of piece is a rook, a finch, or a knight? Garou. To everyone's surprise, Garou appeared behind Razor, who was also astonished. But when he turned around, there was no one there, and when he saw Rias, he saw him by her side. Razor, let me guess, 8 pawns. Rias, you don't miss a thing, do you? Razor, hey, do you have a quirk or? A sacred gear, Garou, sacred gear. Razor, do you know this guy's name? Garou, la boosted gear. Razor, wait, are you the current Red Emperor? Garou, yes, but it doesn't have that color. Razor, excuse me, what do you mean it doesn't have that color? Garou, he is white with blue gems, the opposite of what he should be. Maybe it's blocked. Upon hearing that voice, our protagonist looked in a corner, seeing a girl. Judging by everyone's expression, she was calm. They already knew of her presence. Garou, excuse me, may I know your name? Emilia Lucifer. Garou Lucifer, Garou's expression was pure gold terror. Garou Lucifer-sama, it's a pleasure to meet the Demon King, I mean Queen. I didn't think you were a woman, but you are. Suddenly he fell to his knees. Garou, I'm sorry. Emilia, I am not the Demon King's. Garou, I just made a fool of myself, sorry. Emilia, I am her second daughter. Garou, a little worse. Emilia, get up, you're just making a fool of yourself. Without further ado, he stood up, revealing that he was taller than her. In fact, he was the tallest person there. Just as he was calming down, he noticed the girl's gaze on him, making him even more nervous. Emilia, you're not bad. Everyone, huh? Emilia, not overly muscular, tall, handsome, seemingly strong, and with great potential. How much for your pawn? Rias, Emilia. Emilia, I'm sorry, I got carried away. Just look at this. After saying that, I tried to touch Garou's crotch. Garou, stop right there, you can't do that. Emilia, oh yeah, and who decided that? Rias, Emilia, leave Garou-kun alone. Garou-kun, go with the others. Garou, see but you. Emilia, what a party pooper. Razor, getting back to the main topic, the rating game will be in 10 days. I advise you to find people for your entourage. Rias, I'm aware of that, but I'm sure that what I have now is enough. Razor, Emilia-sama, may one of my pieces have a small confrontation with one of Rias? This question surprised everyone, but the answer surprised everyone even more. Emilia, I don't see why not. Razor. Then a magic circle appeared in Razor's ear. Razor, come all, it's important. A few seconds later, a magic circle appeared on the ground from which 15 girls emerged. Girls, what's up, Razor-sama? Razor, one of you will fight a member of Ria's clan, and that will be. Emilia, hold right there. If I authorize this, it's because I will decide who will fight, and that will be Garou and you, Isabella Tower. Without further ado, everyone went to the back and put up a barrier so Garou stood in front of his enemy. Garou, since you're a woman, I'll avoid hitting your face. Isabella, don't underestimate me. Emilia, begin. After the fight began, Isabella disappeared and reappeared behind Garou, punching him and sending him flying into the forest. Isabella, that's all. To his surprise, Garou returned with several scratches. Garou, you hit hard, I admit it. Isabella, and you haven't seen anything. Suddenly, they both started running towards each other, which ended in a clash of fists that destroyed the floor and caused a shockwave. Isabella quickly punched him in the face, followed by a kick to the abdomen, sending him flying. Garou recovered in midair only to receive a kick to the face and be grabbed by the foot to be slammed to the ground and then sent flying into the sky. When it touched the ground, it wobbled a little. Garou, that was amazing. Isabella, how can you continue with that attitude after receiving such a beating? Garou, if you're not serious, you won't achieve anything. Isabella, how do you know I'm not fighting seriously? Garou, when you don't hesitate or back down at all. 2, your muscles barely tense up, and 3, judging by your defense, it's that of someone experienced in combat. That analysis, which was done in 1 minute, surprised everyone. Isabella, how do you know so much about combat? Garou, I don't know if you tell me. Isabella, thanks, it doesn't matter, this is over now. Garou, but have we only just begun? Isabella slammed her fist into the ground, shattering it and causing Garou to lose his balance. Before he could regain his footing, he was struck by a powerful blow that sent him flying as he spun around. In midair, he recovered but ended up falling on his back. Garou turned around, sensing a rush, but then he had a hallucination. After delivering the blow, he jumped back, confused. He didn't understand why he had seen that man, and it wasn't just any man, it was Tank Top Master, an S-Class hero. Isabella, on the other hand, was standing up from the ground with a bleeding forehead, but she noticed that her rival was sweating and panting. Isabella, are you okay? Garou, oh right, sorry, I had to use it. Isabella, use it, Garou Sekiryuutei Gansaiken. The entire Phoenix entourage was sweating after witnessing the fighting style of the Gremory clan member. Razor, where did you get that human? Emilia, I'll give you whatever you want, but give me your pawn. Rias, no. This conversation had everyone sweating profusely, while in combat. Isabella, where did you learn it? Garou, that's the least of it, it's game time. He quickly lunged towards Isabella, punching her, which she dodged, but he threw 8 more at great speed, one of which hit her in the face, making her stumble back. Garou, I've got you. Upon hearing those words, Isabella realized she had let her guard down, and before she could recover, she was hit by a flurry of blows that ended with her crashing into a tree, but Garou had another hallucination. This last one brought with it a headache that forced him to hold his head. This did not go unnoticed by Isabella, who immediately kicked him in the stomach, sending him flying into the sky. A bird on the ground realized the situation, and before Isabella knew it, she grabbed him by the foot and started spinning him around at high speed and then threw him against the rest. While in the air, Garou saw where he was headed, so he took out his demon wings and glided towards a tree, clinging to it. However, Emilia noticed something strange about his eye. Garou immediately propelled himself towards Isabella, passing by her to go to another tree and repeat the process. At first, no one understood until Isabella began to have cuts all over her body. Meanwhile, she struck the ground, causing Garou to stop his attack. Garou, I'm sorry, I just realized I hit you in the face. Isabella, you're not taking this seriously, are you? Garou, I have a headache and I'm not at 100%, which makes things difficult. Isabella, I guess I'll have to give it my all to win. Garou, without warning, she launched herself at Garou, who was waiting for her. He noticed a slight increase in temperature and realized what was happening. Garou, elemental magic strikes. Just as Isabella threw a punch, he blocked it, but as he did so, he felt a burning sensation. And it didn't stop. Isabella unleashed a flurry of blows that Garou tried to dodge and block as she gave him no respite. Garou, I only see one way to stop this. Isabella, what's happening? You can't continue. To her surprise, he stopped his fists and pulled her closer to him. Garou, esto fue divertido pero tiene que acabar. She tried to headbutt him, but received a knee to the head that made her vision blurry. Garou, knowing that she could not continue, struck her on the back of the neck, knocking her out of the fight. Razor. Rias, impressive. Razor. Emilia, she doesn't use her sacred gear or magic, so with her normal strength she's capable of facing a mid-class demon and defeating it. If you take her to her full potential, she'll be fearsome. At that moment, Garou arrived carrying Isabella. Garou, if they had fought together, I certainly wouldn't have made it, assuming they were evenly matched. This statement brought a smile to Razor's face and nervousness to Rias, as well as a look of surprise from Emilia. Emilia, are you sure? Garou, well, one more would be enough to leave me in bad shape. Emilia, that's in. Sate, someone did their job wrong.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.